for ERSCA presented by Dayz Gone By. I'm Emily Harlan alongside David Westergrain. David, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Just finished up a race of my own, so I'm excited to get to watch the season opener at Daytona. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I have one quick question for you before we jump into things. Where is Aria?
Uh, she is right there at the top of the tree.
Awesome. Watching over things.
Got my kitty. Yep.
Yes, she's adorable. Okay, so let's just jump right in, kind of talk about what we're looking forward to most about the race tonight.
If the duels were any indication, I think it's going to be hard to get up front. These guys that are starting in the back of the field. We've got a lot of fast guys back there. Some of our past champions. Some of our guys that were in the chase last season. Going to be kind of coming from the back. A lot of guys who crashed as well in the duel races. Just taking a quick glance at the starting lineup. Chuck Sweeting, Chris Wright, Tyler Riggs. All crashed in their dual races, all had some trouble. So those guys are gonna have to find a way to get up front. Damian Leininger as well. Chris Wright. James Heater was leading the race for a long time in duel 2. He ended up crashed and in the back. So the guys like Scott Crump, Gerald Campbell, those guys are gonna be rock solid up front, starting where they've kind of been, and they're in the catbird seat because it's hard to pass in these Xfinity cars at Daytona.
Well, I think the biggest kind of news for today, at least coming into this race, was that Josh Adams is not going to be racing tonight. How do you think that's going to kind of change things?
We've seen his team over there. I believe he runs for Rubbins Racing Motorsports, and that's the Nick Massey, Chris Wright team. Brandon Scott as well. There's a bunch of really fast drivers in there, and Josh Adams not being there means there won't be as much teamwork in that group. So that makes things more difficult for them, I think. And we can kind of even, Josh Adams is one of our favorites. He was our Clash winner. He won his dual race. It's going to be very tough for us to kind of lose someone of that star quality. It's going to be an open session for anybody. He's won both races he's entered this week, so this is huge.
Yeah, that was definitely a shock. I'm sure he's bummed out to kind of be missing things, but I think it kind of opens the door a little bit for the other drivers, kind of seeing that he's not going to be on the track tonight.
Yeah, he was at the Daytona 500 last night, and it ran so late. That's why he ended up staying late, and he got to watch a pretty crazy race. So I don't know if he's too bummed, but certainly I think he would have loved to be here, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah, that was a crazy race last night, by the way. I know you were watching it. I was seeing some stuff on Twitter, but that was definitely interesting. Any thoughts on that from last night?
We are going to see a better overall quality of racing tonight. I think there's no doubt in my mind these guys want to win, and what we saw from the Cup Series drivers last night was a kind of a tentativeness. Nobody was really willing to make a move. With this group, we're not going to see that. These guys are all willing to make moves. In fact, we're probably going to see them make way over aggressive moves and cause some wrecks. We've seen that throughout our duels and through the Clash. We've seen guys get to a point of being able to wreck and then save their cars as well. So I think this group is really going to be pushing hard. There's a lot of the same guys that ran in our Elite Racing Daytona 500 just last week. And there were 84 lead changes in that race. It was a fantastic race. So comparing that to what we watched last night in the real Daytona 500, when one guy just led the line until pit stops, we're not going to see that tonight. These guys are going to go double wide, 3 wide. We saw in the duel number 1, Damian Leininger and I can't remember who was drafting with him, jumped up to the top, straight to the front. So if those guys can get there and do that without causing the crashes, those aggressive moves are really going to pay off for some of these guys, and we're going to see the whole field making those moves.
Do you kind of have a prediction on how many wrecks you think are going to happen tonight? Because I feel like there's going to be quite a few, like you mentioned.
Yeah. I think we might have one a little bit early. It's tough to tell because these guys are really good. This is a really, really quality group of drivers. I don't expect these guys to wreck, but it's Daytona. You can't fit too many cars into one spot, otherwise they're going to go around. And plus, we have the kind of iRacing net code. There's a little space on the outside of the cars, and that may cause some trouble going forward. But
Mhm.
I'm saying let's say 2 or 3 total crashes. I think we'll have a good green flag run at the beginning of the race. Everybody gets settled in. We'll see the guys shuffle up and make moves, but it won't be towards the middle or the end of the race that things start to go crazy.
Yeah. What would you say would be probably the biggest challenge for the guys on this specific track tonight?
Track position. If you're not up front, you're not going to be able to move forward. The track's just going to be blocked 2 wide, 3 wide. These guys, and staying alive, staying with an opportunity to win with a clean, undamaged car, getting caught up in anything is going to hamper your ability to run. These guys have to be careful and have to be clean.
Right. Well, another thing that I'm looking forward to for tonight is our national anthem that is going to be sung by Craig Campbell. Are you amped for that or what?
Yeah, that's really cool. We got an actual country singer to sing the national anthem, so it's exciting.
I know. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to just the guys kind of getting started, getting going. I think everyone's kind of antsy to just kick off this season tonight.
Sure. I mean, could we bring one of our drivers in with a camera on them? I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah, I would love that if that is possible.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Brett, do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, this is Brent Wentz.
Perfect.
He's the sponsor of Dayz Gone By. Brent, you excited for tonight, buddy?
Yeah, we're ready to get this season underway with Johnny and his ERSCA deal. Just trying to promote these guys. They do great things, and we just want to be there to support it. And we'll see how tonight goes. It should be interesting.
Did you do anything to get yourself kind of hyped up for the race tonight?
Oh, man, it's so cold here. I'm not sure you can get hyped up for much, but that race last night sure hyped up a lot of people. So, real life versus sim life, but you probably have the same results tonight maybe as the race last night. So we'll see how it goes.
All right, Brent, who you got winning from this field? I don't know if you've seen the starting lineup.
Yeah, I mean, you got some sleepers, you got some veterans, you got some real life drivers. You can't go past Jeff Green. I mean, that's a guy with real life experience, and people that'll be there at the end. You just gotta bide your time. So I'm going with the Busch Series champion Jeff Green.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, Brent.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, Emily, who you got for the race then?
I feel like I should just jump on what Brent said because my original pick was Josh Adams, and since he's out, I feel like I'm just gonna jump on board with Brent. But I honestly kind of felt like it's anybody's race at this point. Like you said, obviously we'll see who gets off to a good start. That's going to be key in the race tonight. But I feel like it's kind of open. I think that's exciting for the drivers that it's kind of anybody's race at this point. So what about you?
I've got a favorite and a sleeper. My favorite is Johnny Thomas. We've seen him be aggressive, and I watched him come within the right push from winning the Elite Daytona 500. And he looked equally impressive in that race as he did in his dual races and the Clash. Johnny, leader of the league, maybe a homer pick, but he has been really good at Daytona this week. And then my sleeper pick is a guy who was running second in his duel before getting taken out, Michael Goodman. He's got a chance. He's got a fast car, good teammates. I'd watch out for the 40. I think he's the 73 in this league tonight.
All right, those are some good suggestions, some good predictions, and we'll see how it all goes tonight. Perfect. So, all right, I guess we are all set for our national anthem tonight. Like we mentioned, it's with Craig Campbell. I'm super excited about this. And so let's kick it off.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still.
All right. Well, we are kind of joining practice here, waiting up for the ERSCA opening race at Daytona. We're waiting on our other host, Dom Smith, I believe. So, Emily, you know, we kind of gone over our picks. We've gone over everything else. Did you happen to grab the the fuel count? Anything? Maybe any thoughts from the drivers before this has started?
I didn't. I have not talked to any of the drivers as of yet, so I don't know how everyone is really feeling getting into it. I'd imagine just super excited, ready to go, but I'm not sure about fuel count. But I'm just excited to get things going and kind of see how everyone gets started here.
I think the question will maybe be whether or not we could get a driver up here. I don't know if we can potentially pull someone in and grab a quick interview before the race actually starts. I think that might be a good idea.
Yeah.
So, depends on who it is. I think maybe Damian Leininger would be willing to do it. I know he's, one of those guys that's kind of agreeable and always jumps into the interviews. And let's see who we got. It's Dom. Dom, welcome in. We want to try to get your pick for this race.
Yeah, I just joined a little late. I don't know who you guys have picked so far. You guys want to refresh me, then I'll maybe go with my pick.
I've got Damian Leininger and
You said Johnny Thomas.
I said Johnny Thomas. Yeah, sure did. And then Emily went with Jeff Green, as did Brent Wentz.
Yeah, and full disclosure, I copied Brent Wentz. That was not my not my pick. I said I was thinking Josh Adams, and then we found out he wasn't going to be here, so I was kind of thrown off with the whole thing. So I copied somebody, full disclosure, but I would love to hear what you're thinking.
Well, I was gonna think Josh Adams as well. Who couldn't go with that, right? But
yes.
Let's go with Tyler Riggs. I'm going to go with Tyler Riggs. He was running strong in all of Speed Weeks. I think he's going to be up there in the front as well here with this race, and I think he's going to be a good choice here today.
Let's get Damian Leininger in here, and maybe have him what he's thinking about going forward in this race. So Damian, you're starting in the back. How are you going to get that track position and get up to the front tonight?
I think the back is where I want to be.
Going to try to hang back and pull the Dale Jarrett strategy and wait him out?
Yeah, I think that's what's going to be the plan. A lot of the Apex guys were starting in the back anyways, so it's more of a plan rather than trying to fight through the entire field. At least until we get to the first pit stop or so. probably just ride around back there and maybe see if we can find another team to work with. You know, having many allies at a race like this is probably going to be necessary.
You know, how are you going to plan to get up to the front? Maybe wait for a crash.
Yeah, probably. Just try and gotta avoid it as much as you can.
With only 100 laps, I know this race is going to be pretty short. So hopefully you can, find your way through. And I know you're working with Michael Goodman, and who's your other teammate?
So I can barely hear you. They're talking over the iRacing chat too.
You're working with Ryan Lutz as well as Dylan Thomas.
Yeah, and Michael Goodman, he's on our team as well.
Nice.
So I'm not quite sure who we're gonna try and work with on the other side as another team, but kind of just fill that out as the race happens.
All right. Well, I don't know if Dom or Emily, if you guys have anything for Damien here before we get started.
I don't have. No, go ahead, Emily. You're all good.
Kind of, what do you think the biggest challenge is going to be for you specifically on this track tonight?
Emily, you're all good.
I mean, avoiding the accident is whenever you come to Daytona, that's going to be the biggest thing. But the car, especially when you get into a pack, this setup makes it really loose if you're tucked up behind cars, and we're really when people are trying to side drive. So going through the tri-ovals and coming on the exit and entry of the corners, I'd watch for a lot of the cars trying to push up, maybe hitting a car on the outside or looping it on the bottom, maybe hitting the apron a little bit. So I think that's going to be a major key, especially so far back. The air is going to be, all around your car. It's going to be a lot worse than what it would be maybe if you were up front. So.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Thank you.
I think that's it from us. So good luck tonight, Damien.
All right. Thanks, guys.
With that, I am not sure entirely whether or not we have a kind of a command to start engines, but I know we're about to have qualifying come up. I believe that starts at 8:30, which is right now. All right, so here comes the command, I believe.
I'm here in Dawsonville with Luke. Welcome to Daytona. Drivers, start your engines. Woo!
All right, welcome back to the ERSCA Daytona 250. Got the engines getting ready to be fired. About ready to go with our first official race here of the season. David, you about ready to get this thing officially underway?
Yeah, I am. We've had a lot of opportunities to kind of build up anticipation for this race. Got qualifying underway right now, looking to, or I guess this is the final warm-up before the green flag, but these guys are going to be rolling off as they were after the dual races. We've got, go find it again for the final starting lineup. I don't know if we maybe have that already, Josh. Here it is. We're still warming up here, 5 more minutes. So I know we've kind of had a bit of a start to this broadcast, but looking ahead into this race, we've got a lot of really fast competitors. I want to kind of mention that Ryan Lutz is in the 3 car right there. He is a former elite champion, bought his way into this race. He had COVID all week. So definitely someone to keep an eye on, I believe. I don't have exactly who he bought the ride from, but definitely paid to be in this race. And, you can maybe talk about it, Dom or Emily, is this race is going to be for, I believe, $40.
Yeah, I know you have mentioned quite a few times, David, the big kind of deal to get into this series is the fact that it is a cash prize for all of these races. So, Daytona is always a big one to win. When you add $40 in there, that just adds to wanting to win it even more as we look at practice about to be wrapping up, but yeah, $40 actually a pretty big prize here for the iRacing community. So expect to be pretty competitive right off the start. Look for cars to be on the move and trying to get up towards the front.
Now, this is a great opportunity to take a look at Gerald Campbell. He starts up front. He's definitely one of those guys that was running in the top of the pack, leading the lines in our dual races. I feel like Gerald Campbell has a real big opportunity here to kind of take control of this race early on. You know, we saw Scott Crump and Campbell and some other guys be able to kind of go back and forth together in that first dual race, but once it came to Campbell, you know, having an opportunity to win late, he wasn't able to do it, but he was able to be there the entire time.
Yeah, I think what we're going to see here quickly throughout the season is there's going to be a lot of drivers here in this series that on any given week are going to be capable of winning the race, and it's going to make it for a great season all year long, and at any given time could have a surprise winner.
Yeah, for sure. I think we're gonna kind of learn a little more about who is like truly a fast driver. You know, I mentioned Ryan Lutz. I think he's one of those guys that you just have to look out for everywhere you go. This guy is really, really talented at this stuff. Jeff Green, obviously, is a former Busch Series champion, former NASCAR Cup Series driver. You know, he's as good as it gets because he's been there and done it in real life. You know, we've got guys from all variations of the iRacing community kind of coming in. I know we have guys from Court, we have guys from the Sim Racers for Mental Health group. We have a bunch of guys kind of stacking up into this field and piling together. I think it's going to be an awesome time, and I'm excited to get started and put together a great race.
Me too, David. I think our warm-up session is getting ready to conclude, which means we're almost ready to go green here with the Daytona 250. Emily, you have any final thoughts as we wrap up the last couple minutes here of warm-up?
I mean, my only thoughts just all day today, I'm just excited to kick things off. Just the last couple weeks, seeing just the 30 lappers was a bit of a tease. So I'm just excited to kind of get a full race going, see how the guys drive, see what everyone's really excited about. And I think we're going to have a great race tonight.
All right, looks like we're under a minute left to go. The Dayz Gone By 250. Rich still the fastest in practice. We're going to have some live camera views along with the racing, so we'll jump from time to time to see those live camera views. We're going to have Johnny Thomas, Kyle Hanshaw, and Brandon Key, hopefully providing their in-car cameras, so we get to see what it's like from their view at home, racing here in the race. We're going to have Damien Leininger, who we just talked to a little bit ago as our solo driver. We'll see how he does. Looks like our warm-up session is going to end, and we're going to get ready to go here for Dayz Gone 250 to kick off the ERSCA season.
Yeah, we didn't mention him, but our defending champion is going to start this race in third spot. Third spot, Nick Massey. He would have started fourth, but Josh Adams fell out of it due to timing coming home from the Daytona 500. But Massey is definitely that, going to go out and try to prove that he last season wasn't a fluke. He's definitely, a champion and worthy of running really well. This is a great way to get started. And he's up here, trying to, with that track position, trying to push forward and take the lead early on.
So there's your starting lineup. Scott Crump, Jared Campbell on the front row, Nick Massey, Johnny Thomas, row number 2. Kyle Hanshaw, Kendall Player, row number 3. Tate Lytle, starting 7th. Dylan Thomas, 8th. Thomas Sherman, 9th. Nick Delicato, starting in the 10th position. Josh Clark, 11th. And Ethan Burrell in 12th.
We went one too far there.
There we go. starting 13th. Tyler McIntosh starting 14th. Jake Finch 15th. Richard Lafferty 16th. Adam Petit 17th. Byron McDonald 18th. Jishan Dura 19th. Robert Hill 20th. Connor Trafari 21st. Brandon Key 22nd. Jeff Green 25th will be Michael Goodman. 23rd will be Jared Mogard. 24th, Kevin Rich. Then 25th, Michael Goodman. 26th, Harrison Talon. 27th, Giovanni Klein. 28th, Dalton Tucker. 29th, Chuck Sweeting. Starting in 30th, Tyler Riggs. Row number 16 will be 31st, Chris Wright. 32nd, Joshua Personette. Row 17, 33rd will be Marshall Stanley. 34th will be Joe Francis. And rounding it out here, starting in row number 18, 35th will be Damian Leininger. Starting 36th, James Heater. Row number 19, Colin Fambro. 38th, David Strackenbean. Row number 20, Matthew Bayok. And 40th, Kenny Lowry. Row number 21 will be Matthew Weeks and Brandon Scott. And rounding out the field on the back row, starting 43rd, Ryan Lutz. It's going to be starting lineup here for the Dayz Gone 250. Getting ready to go green. Crump and Campbell going to lead us to the green flag. And here we go. The ERSCA season is underway. We start lap number 1 of 100 here at Daytona International Speedway. Crump trying to get that bottom line formed up as they make their way to the backstretch.
These guys trying to sort it out here, try to figure out who they can run with early on, who they can trust to push them, give them that quality push that'll get them to the front. Gerald Campbell going to lead that outside line with help from Kendall Noah Player. Those two guys worked together in the past and are definitely going to try to form it up here on the outside once again. But these guys need to remember you can't win the race on lap number 1 here as we flash by and try to come back, see if Scott Crump can lead the first lap of the ERSCA season.
Coming back to the line, waiting to see. And it looks like it will be Crump by less than half a car out front after lap number 1. As we make our way around. Jared Campbell getting that top line rolling now.
Start by these guys, formed it out nice and neat, orderly, drafting hard, and Crump going to bail out and head to the back from first. Interesting strategy call.
Yeah, David, that's a very early move to drop to the back and ride back there. I think you might have seen that maybe a little bit later on, but on the first lap, maybe leading that first lap, thought it was good, and now gonna let this all play out as Campbell will drop to the bottom line now and pick up Massey.
You know, I don't know that I agree with that in a race with no guaranteed cautions. Since Kendall Noah Player's going to lead lap number 2. That guy has a knack for this thing. He's won multiple elite racing plate track races in that 94 car. But you know, back to Scott Crump dropping out there, dropping that track position. I don't know that I see the benefit to giving up willingly your track position, even within a 100-lap race. You know, there's so much time. If this race happens to go green, there's no way to get back to the front. If you have it, why not take it? You know, we talked to Damian Leininger before the race started, and he mentioned that they're already starting in the back, so they can't move forward. Why give up the spot up at the front so quickly? Voluntarily. Yeah, I don't know that I get that one, but it's all right. Here comes Gerald Campbell. He'll lead lap 3. We've had 3 laps, 3 different leaders.
Yeah, David, I totally agree with you there. You know, we've seen in our clash that they can save the race car, and it seems like they got a pretty good handle even when the car starts to spin. We did see a few crashes in our duels, but man, if you have, no matter what series you're in, even at the real level, track position is king. And we saw that you don't get massive runs here in our duels, so we'll have to see how that plays out. Definitely an interesting position that they just put themselves in, but see how it goes. Jared Campbell getting that bottom line with a run a little bit here. Nick Massey going to go with him. Here comes the top side back once again, led by Player at the line, nose to nose. That one was close. I think it went to Campbell that time.
Tough to kind of note the exact spacing here as we cross the line. Our scoring isn't always 100% right on the money, right at the line, but these guys kind of all together here. As I think that's Zishan Dura dropping out. Now, from the back of the pack, I understand that, right? You don't want to necessarily be in this hornet's nest if you're 20th, but if you're first, that makes that move all the more puzzling. But Nick Massey, Gerald Campbell up front haven't really made too much progress, too many moves, trying to keep it steady, turn some laps, and see how far they can get into this race.
Yeah, we will definitely see what happens, as we've been talking about for the last couple laps. Scott Crump led at lap number 1, then dropped to the back. And we'll see if he can make his way back up when the time matters, but back and forth. Campbell and Player keep switching it up front. Massey pushing Campbell on the bottom line, and Johnny Thomas, third car in line back there, quietly sitting on that inside row.
Dylan Thomas, we got two Thomases right there. You might notice in our scoring pylon, put together by our wonderful production man, Joshua Sobel. Huge shout out and thank you to everything that he's doing for us. But you might notice there's two Thomases. The 03 is Dylan Thomas. The 83 is Johnny Thomas. So, that may be a touch confusing, but just for future reference, we're talking about a guy named Thomas. We'll try to clarify with that first name. Nick and Delicato up here in top 5 as well. We didn't see too much from him in the dual race, but he's ran well so far in this one, staying in line.
Yeah, looking through the top 10 there, Tate Lytle's making his way up too. He's in the 9th position. Lytle had a pretty good run in the dual race, trying to make his way up front now. It seems like, oh, go ahead there, David.
Before he jumped off of Tate, he has had run just so poorly at Daytona for quite a while there. Finally had a good run, I believe, the other night, and in his dual race, and that kind of broke up his streak of having a bad run there. At this point, I think we're ready for this 56 car to maybe challenge for this win. I think that bad luck streak is over.
Yeah, I think he was running up front most of the night in the duels, and then he kind of got dumped in the last lap accident. But other than that, I think he still came across in the 3rd place position when it was all said and done.
I think you're absolutely right. Yeah, right. Kyle Hanshaw right in front of him there, one of our officials for the ERSCA group. Hanshaw, we talked to him in after a big save in the dual race, avoiding a wreck, and he almost went and won the duel right after we talked to him, and he kind of said, I'm just going to ride around and see what happens. So as Gerald Campbell makes a bid for the lead at the front of this field, Hanshaw did do a good job and did finish well in his dual race, and he's still riding here in the top 10. But Gerald Campbell, Kendall Noah Player continue to battle back and forth. Though, ooh man, his Player gets on the apron just a touch. It's going to be all right though.
David, it's going to be kind of interesting to see how this race, which direction this race will go, because we saw in our clash, it was pretty calm, but really the big story were the saves. The dual races, we saw a lot more of wrecks and kind of the big ones, and so far this one has been, for the time being, I guess you could say calm. Cars have been moving up and down, but really no big moves or verges of wrecks yet. Everyone's kind of staying in the 2 formed lines, but as we go on throughout the night, it'll be interesting to see which way this goes.
We just had our first moment of this race, I believe. Gerald Campbell kind of tried to clear down on Kendall, didn't make it, and then Dylan Thomas was to his outside, and Dylan cut him a break there, let him back in. You can see the inside line pretty well spaced out. Those guys not trying to do too much by way of push drafting early. That's one of those things that can get you in trouble. And you see in the back of the field, all single file behind this front group, as now Dylan Thomas drops to the bottom in front of Kendall Noah Player, but everyone's behind Gerald Campbell.
Yeah, Campbell went with them, saw Thomas looking to the bottom. They clear as the 2 cars got clear up top. They dropped to the bottom line. Now it looks like Dylan Thomas looking to try to make a move, went to the high side, but Indelicato was there, and here comes the top side right back.
And this is how you're going to get the track position change. As Indelicato has gone from about 10th to the lead, you just got to have guys shuffle themselves out of that top line. You know, guys drop to the bottom, lose their momentum, and then the top line surges forward once again. Now Nick Indelicato leading, and on the outside, Ethan Burrell, winner of one race already tonight. So Ethan looking to kind of double up in the same night here and win 2 for that 37 car.
Yeah, and that 37 Monster Energy car getting a push to the lead. Going to try to come to the outside door of Indelicato, see if he can get that top line with another run.
Jake
Still
Finch.
hasn't got there yet.
Jake Finch in the 30 car. We haven't mentioned his name yet tonight. And right behind them, it's Jeff Green. It's Emily's pick right there. 2000 Cup champion Jeff Green. That's the Jeff Green. If you've not raced with us yet and first time joining us, Jeff is looking to take Jake Finch 3 wide here. Definitely the first dangerous move of this race, though I think Finch is going to have plenty of room on the back straightaway to drop back.
There's another move up to the top. That was Campbell jumping back up there to the top line. He's going to take back over
Finch
the race lead.
30 car can hold it up there. He'll be okay. The little scraping of the wall is not going to damage that car at all. He will have to, claw his way back to the front. So from the front to the back for Jake Finch, not exactly what you want to see, but everything going Gerald Campbell's way here so far. Ethan Burrell and Jeff Green working together on the top side, 37 and 38. Yeah, and so one thing that we saw Crump drop out on lap number 2, right? In the 51 car. One thing that has been troubling him has been in bum PC, as we see Nick Indelicato heading to the back now as well. Crump has not had a stable connection for maybe the past week. Was able to run the full dual race. We were hoping he would be able to get that fixed for this race. It appears that he is not, and so that does make more sense as to be dropping to the back. But here comes Jeff Green and Ethan Burrell now. They've taken the lead as Indelicato dropping out of the bottom. Kind of softened up that bottom line, and Burrell will lead the lap.
David, I don't know if this is just a timing and scoring issue, but I'm also seeing Leininger currently says out on the scoring pylon too. So I don't know if he has an issue or what's going on there, if he's still in the race or not. There he is. So don't know why it says out on the scoring pylon. I know that's not any of Josh's doing. That's a iRacing deal, but good to see he still is riding back there in the back of the pack.
No, what we've got back there is a loading issue from iRacing. So what'll happen is the cars won't render at a certain point in the field, and that's just an iRacing thing. Leininger, Chris Wright, looks like we've got maybe an issue. Dylan Thomas down to the bottom. The 03 was definitely in our top pack here. Not sure where he would have gone.
They're starting to get squirrely up here on that bottom line. Cars starting to make moves.
Adam Pettit in the 57 car. Definitely first time we've seen him up in the front overall in the whole speed weeks. I believe that second car on the outside is Jared Mogard in the 00.
Jeff Green out to the race lead, though. Another new leader here so far, just 15 laps.
We've seen a marvelous job of these guys working together and kind of pushing someone to the lead and then dropping in and shuffling back. No incidents so far, but we would have to look and see what's up with the 03 of Dylan Thomas. I wonder if he maybe just didn't try to get out of the way of this front pack. They are shuffling around quite a bit.
Burrell on that second spot in the inside line, and then Campbell's back there in the third car in line. They've hooked together pretty good now on the bottom line, looking to pull away and clear that top line.
And what we've seen is Johnny Thomas and Nick Massey and Kyle Hanshaw just kind of drop out of this front pack, as now another one drops out of this front pack. That's going to be Ethan Burrell.
Wondering what the idea for some of these guys are. I mean, you've seen some cars kind of getting squirrely up there looking to make moves, but when you look at some of the top names here in the series, all of them dropping to the back and deciding to ride around a little bit now.
No, that's Daytona for you too. This track is just so prone to giving up those big wrecks. They take out just a whole bunch of cars. Mogard a little all over the place there, as well as the 13 of McIntosh. That's Ty McIntosh there in that car. So are we lapping somebody already there? Yep, that is the 44 car. of, I think it's track beam. And it looks like there's a little damage to the rear of that car, so not sure what happened there.
Yeah, it is.
Lead though.
That is David Strackbean going a lap down here on lap number 17, and back to the familiar spot. As David said, goes Jared Campbell back out in front.
Cameron Rich up into the top 5 in the 47 car. First time we've been able to call his name so far today. And one of the guys that rode up into the top 5 the entire race before getting taken out in the last lap, Giovanni Klein, 85, is now into the top 10 as player up to the top of the track. Not what he wanted to do, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think
to the back.
I think he got shuffled out, and he's going to have a long way to go. And we're starting to get a smaller pack up front here now as more guys keep falling back. We're actually creating 2 packs. You got the pack racing for the lead, and then a lot of the guys racing together back there, just kind of riding along. You see Nick Massey, Johnny Thomas,
Sherman,
Ethan Burrell. So quite a few guys back here creating their own pack, just kind of riding along.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a calculated move from Sherman, Massey, Thomas, Burrell. 6 car as well. Tanshaw, Tate Lytle, all those guys definitely trying to just kind of slide behind. That was the 8 car. That was Lafferty is the other one in that group.
Definitely gives some of these other guys that we haven't talked so much about in the Speed Week so far for ERSCA a chance to get up here, not only on the broadcast, but run inside the top 10. David's already gave you some of the names as we look through the top 10.
Jared Bogard in that 00 car is the second in line. Then Giovanni Klein in 85 is now third. Moved up a little there on Jeff Green, startled him a little. Dalton Tucker here in the 24 is in 5th spot. 7th on the inside line is Marshall Stanley. We're going to, as we kind of run here in the season, we're going to get more familiar with these drivers, their driving styles, their speed and their positions on track. We're seeing who's aggressive and who's willing to take the risks of running up in the front pack, who's willing to kind of ride around near the rear of the field and play it safe for those points. Nick Massey, our champion, one of those guys who has done that so far in this race. As we look to crown a second champion, I think we're going to see a lot of guys looking to play for those points.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like we said, we're only 20 laps into the official season. We had the duels and the clash and everything, but everything is for real now. $40 on the line, first win of the regular season. And it looks like Jared Campbell leading a significant amount of the opening laps here.
Campbell definitely the strongest of these drivers so far. It looks like Adam Pettit not really able to give Jeff Green that shot that he needs to drive up past Gerald Campbell. So Green kind of holding station right there in a good spot. First car on the outside is definitely a great place that you want to be. The outside lane not very well formed. Inside lane much more stable. Though Mogard sideways on the apron there. It caught the apron on the 00.
Can he save it? He's still coming up and off the apron.
There's
a car spinning. Didn't catch who that is, but there's a car spinning to the infield.
I believe it was the 13 car. Yep.
Looks like we're going to stay green, though.
Ty McIntosh, 13 car. So he got spun by Kendall Player, I believe. They all stacked up trying to check up for the Jared Bogard machine of hitting the apron there. That will do it. So yeah, we can hit a replay if we need one here. Big incident, first major incident of the day, but not going to result in the caution. Yeah, Mogard trying to save that car, just kept turning it down and hitting the apron, and then right there the contact between Player and McIntosh, and it sends McIntosh into the inside wall.
Got some contact to the nose, got some contact to the bumper, but we stay green. Ty McIntosh was running inside the top 10. I think he might have possibly just fallen outside of the top 10 before that incident happened, and that puts Nick Massey, who's been riding around in the back, dropped to the back for a while. He's now inside the top 10.
This pack is now very, very spread out, and that's what the guys who were riding at the back do not want to see. This is like bad news for the Damian Leininger group, as well as even maybe the Nick Massey, Ethan Burrell group. Um, this front five is in a really, or I think front six is in a really good spot. You can now just click off laps, head to pit road cleanly. And I think we're going to get pit road here in maybe the next 10 or 15 laps or so. These Xfinity cars are right around, 30 laps. But Josh Clark and Brandon Key looking to kind of make a name for themselves up here in this front group and try to take the lead.
I'm watching, though, on timing and scoring, David. I'm looking at that group of Dalton Tucker. He's leading the way. Nick Massey behind him. They're making up time. They're almost within a second now. They're closing in on this lead pack. We could see Nick Massey start to make his way back up here to the front.
Dalton Tucker and Nick Massey drafting together right there. You got the 24 and 48 numbers in yellow. That kind of throws you back for sure to the Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson days in NASCAR that are now gone, actually. So this front pack quickly shaping back up into a multi-car pack, and I think we'll get everyone back together here as Cameron Rich going for the lead with Josh Clark in tow.
We'll see how Dalton Tucker and Nick Massey come back with that momentum. We're going to tuck into that bottom line. Nick Massey looks like he's thinking about going up to the high side, but he might stay with Tucker there on the bottom.
Massey now the last car in this pack, but you can see the whole field here right with them. I don't think this is too spread out. You can really draft back up if they start getting double wide like this, and this really slows the field down. They have to check up. You can definitely make up time if you are that second group. So now that they're not single file anymore, I think that kind of threw the good feeling out the window for maybe Gerald Campbell and Jeff Green. They were maybe looking to kind of have a nice, clean chance at pit road. Now that's not going to happen. We're going to have to be pitting from too wide, and that's always dangerous.
Yeah, that's possibly when we could see our first big wreck of the night when we get to that pit window. And David, you said probably around lap 35 to 40. Is that when you expect them to start coming down pit road?
Yeah, now in ERSCA, the rules are different. I think that we have a little bit less overall gas than otherwise. So I anticipate that the pit window opens right here after lap 30. I think right in there is when we're going to start seeing guys think about heading down pit road. Each time coming off turn 4, we just got to keep our eye on these guys and see what they do.
All right, it's definitely going to start to get interesting. It's about a 30-lap window. That means probably 2 to 3 stops for these guys.
It's like a 2-stop race. You pit at 30, you pit at 60. Maybe you have to come get a splash, but you assume maybe there's going to be some cautions late that you kind of come down pit road. The way this pack is formed back up, though, yeah, I don't think that we're going to be caution-free all the way through, but these races have happened before at these types of tracks.
Well, it's Gerald Campbell on the bottom. Jeff Green leading the top side. Green looking to take over the race lead once again. The top 2 cars, I'd say, so far from this run, battling it out here for the race lead once again.
Yeah, I'm with you there. The 38 and 31 have been able to kind of do whatever they want. We've seen a number of guys get a little bit squirrely, but neither the 38 nor the 31 have done that at all this run. Those guys are clean. They're running very well. These moves are very calculated, and the pushing to lead more laps is definitely a calculated maneuver by those guys.
Cameron Rich now leading that top side as we ride on board with the Brandon Key, who's third in line on that top side, and he looks to the inside, getting some fresh air in that Chevrolet.
This is
possibly thinking about making it 3 wide as well.
This is going to be a bit of a moment here. You got this lapped car up at the top of the racetrack. That's probably the guy who spun earlier, Ty McIntosh. 13 car, yep. Glides by, holds his lane up top, done doing a good job. These lapped cars, and we're going to have them in this race. That's one of those big factors that can really change the complexion of the field. Is those lapped cars. Everyone's got to really hold their lines, be very steady. And if you have bad lapped cars, it can be very difficult, especially when you're running too wide.
Now we have 2 cars on the bottom. Green and Campbell teaming up, starting to try to make a 2-car breakaway. Bottom line going to catch back up, and here goes Campbell back to the top side, trying to get around Jeff Green once again.
It's not surprising at all. Campbell and Green have really been doing the exact same thing over and over again, shuffling the lead from first and second. These guys are trying to control the race. This is a very, very calculated. These guys have both done this before. Green in real life, and he wants to be in the lead. He's always done that in these tracks and at these races. The races I've called with Jeff Green in them, he's always up front looking to race.
Second in line on the top side is the 47 of Cameron Rich. On the bottom side is the 57 of Adam Pettit. Open the window here for pit stops. David said around lap 30. We just completed it. We'll see if these cars start to think about coming down pit road here in the next coming laps.
You see guys down the bottom of the track, everyone behind this front group singled out. Campbell now working to the bottom. I think we are getting close to green flag pit stops. These guys have to be ready to try to make this clean, and this is where your race can be made or can be broken.
Got to make sure you get down to pit road speed as well. Don't want to get a speeding penalty, especially if you're one of the two up front in green or Campbell.
No one from the front group pitted that lap. We'll have to kind of keep our eye on that back of the field, see if those guys break off. But for now, everyone's staying single file. They know that pit stop is coming soon.
Here's someone like Nick Massey. You might actually be in a little bit of a better position back here. They're running single file, a little bit of space between the cars. Might allow you to get down to the apron a little bit easier. And a lot of cars now single filing down to that bottom line. David, I'm assuming maybe this time we see a few takers.
We'll see. It's about how much fuel is in those tanks, and Jeff Green's still battling like it's the last lap of the race, which I love, man. He always goes for it. As we watch, these guys maybe start to drop off here in the next 2 or 3 laps, fill up those tanks. It's all about putting on a good show for us and letting us watch something enjoyable. Jeff Green is the prime factor in being able to do that.
Josh taking us through the field there. Looks like no takers there on lap 32. Come around once again to see if anyone else will come down pit road. We saw Nick Massey, Johnny Thomas staying out front, Green and Campbell. 4 of the bigger names here so far, all staying out here. Everyone's staying on the racetrack, and here goes Jeff Green back to the bottom, going to team back up with Campbell on that bottom line.
Yep, Green definitely not worried about when he gets to the pit road. It's going to be, he wants to be coming from the lead. He wants to control this line. Very smart move by Jeff Green. He really is running a smart race. That back line group of cars still staying out, so I think this will show us nicely what the number is to get to the end here. If it's 35 laps, these guys will be able to go to lap 70 next time, and then they'd be able to make it on one more stop. So if they come by and don't pit, I think we will have a 2-stop race.
Here goes Campbell back up to the top side, going to battle for that race lead again. He'll get up there with Cameron Rich, team up and try to push that 31 car back out to the race lead. And I think you might be right on, David. If they can stretch it here to 35, that would make it a 2-stop race, and we'd be all set to make it the rest of the way.
And that assumes no cautions, which, this is Daytona. We're probably going to have a caution at some point. But we're seeing a lead change just about every lap, and Cameron Rich has to be wondering what he's got to do in that 47 to try to get one of these guys to not jump down after they clear that inside lane. You see Joe Campbell do it right there. Poor Cameron Rich, every time he pushes somebody else to the lead, someone else jumps up in front of him.
You wonder if he'll start to get a little bit of aggressive here, and that might be when we see a wreck. If he, maybe he's been cutting him just a slight little break, and if he gets a big run, we'll have to see what happens. Keep an eye up there at the front. Is Cameron Rich going to try to come up, and there comes Jeff Green, as David said, jumping back up in front of him once again.
We've got a lot of lead changes out of this. Green and Campbell basically swapping the lead every lap. And that's, really entertaining watching Jeff Green and Gerald Campbell kind of try to play some chess and figure out who can make that move at the right time and kind of use that later on. It seems like the guy on the inside, when they get clear, that's the guy that can really pull forward second car on the inside lane once someone drops down in front of them. That's the guy who can make the move.
All right, we've hit lap 35. We definitely say the pit window is open now, so Josh has been doing a great job of showing us an overhead view as we come back to the tri-oval. As there goes Green back down to the bottom side. See if anyone comes this time by.
I believe I saw the Damian Leininger Apex Racing group jumping up on the outside and trying to pull some spots. But here comes Rich. Finally gets an opportunity to drive around Jeff Green, and he's going to take it 3 wide for the lead, and Green's going to go to the back of this field. Cameron Rich finally got tired of being second on the outside line. He wants to lead it.
Jeff Green in a dangerous spot right now. He's actually going to get picked up there in the middle line. He's going to pull up with Cameron Rich. They're going to push Josh Clark up there to the top side, 3 wide, and this is where we started to see accidents happen in the duels when we got 3 wide, and now the bottom lane actually falling apart a little bit. Top 2 lanes starting to pull away.
That might have been calculated by Gerald Campbell there. Oh, you're 3 wide now. You know, let out of it just a little bit. You'll get the draft back when they drop down in front of you. Now Campbell able to kind of suck up back up to Jeff Green, and Rich to the lead in the 47 car. He really bided his time well, waiting for that right move, and he finally made it and made it work. And now Rich has the lead fairly stably here, and Giovanni Klein now the top man on the outside lane.
That was pretty close. I think Jared Campbell might have gave Jeff Green a slight break there. That 38 car slid in there behind Cameron Rich and in front of Jared Campbell, and it was mighty close. I wouldn't be surprised if that top line gets developed to see Jeff Green jump up there to the top side, but they're still struggling, and I don't even know. I've lost count how many different leaders we've had, but Cameron Rich now out front leading us around, and still kind of surprised now that we've hit the lap 37 mark. We haven't really had anyone down pit road.
They're going to be coming really, really soon, I think. You know, these guys are in a pack. You're not necessarily pushing really hard and all full throttle all the time. You're a little bit off. You're able to kind of break the car with your throttle control, and you know, you see these guys are pushing on the outside now. This is that Apex Sim Racing group. There's Chris Wright, Damian Leininger, a couple of other guys, Harrison Talon as well, moving their way towards the front. And that's absolutely a calculated move by them, pushing forward here right as pit stops are about to happen.
So David, I guess my question would be for you. I know in real life NASCAR we see manufacturer alliances pit together, but would you assume team alliances pitting all together here when we come down pit road?
I think absolutely, and you know, these guys are running as hard as they can right now. You see even 3 wide now, Josh Clark trying to take Giovanni Klein out of that middle lane. Klein, though, not clear on Pettit. Now he is. Pettit now gives him a break. Klein into 4th, and now Key to the middle. Man, these guys are running really hard here, but everyone kind of trying to shuffle to the bottom as pit stops are coming soon.
Yeah, you can see the front 4 or 5 cars now single file down on that bottom line. Looks like some cars up there in the top line trying to make their way to the bottom, just not clear to do so, as it's Brandon Key leading that top line. Key's in the 8th spot, so the front 7 cars now single file running right on that double yellow line. And I would expect, we've been
I think
guessing,
someone came in up there.
someone did actually make it down pit road.
Looked like someone. Thomas Sherman, I think, maybe jumped down pit road, tried to get a jump on the field. There won't be any tire advantage by doing that, but you'd at least get a clean pit road by coming down without the pack. Maybe an advantage, especially if they happen to crash it coming out of turn 4 here this next time by, if everybody pits. And to your statement, Dom, you know, these guys work together in teams with those manufacturers kind of aligned. So you would work maybe with another team. You would necessarily see Toyotas working with Chevys if the teams align properly. But mostly I think it will be Chevys together, you know, Toyotas together. As here come
Here we go. We got some takers. Campbell in the mix.
Bogart,
along with that was, I think we have the 38 in there as well of Jeff Green.
Let's lead over to Adam Pettit in this 57 car. Giovanni Klein, who has run his way towards the top 10. Oh, as Riggs spins out. I don't know if that'll bring out a caution. He is off the track. I think he was maybe trying to come out of pit road and get up to speed. So that was one of our big names from the dual races that ran well. Tyler Riggs spun out coming off pit road.
Looks like he's got that 26 car back up and underway. We'll see how he stacks up and see if that spin looked like it was pretty innocent there in the grass. Don't know if it really did too much damage to that 26 car, but here we go. More takers coming.
And, you know, you saw a little damage on Tyler Riggs' car right there. I can't help but wonder if he maybe got a little bit of contact. There is contact on pit road. Looks like everyone's going to get through that cleanly, though those guys will not be happy.
So now that puts Giovanni Klein out to the race lead.
Chuck Sweeting behind him. Chuck is one of the just the craftiest guys I know in this sim racing stuff. He's really smart. So whatever strategy Chuck Sweeting's on, that's kind of the one you want to be on. Usually, he knows what's going on. He knows how to do this stuff really well. You see Chris Wright right there, one of our final championship level guys last year. And Chuck jumps up to the high lane. He abandons everyone and watches them go down pit road behind him.
Oh,
Klein.
tire smoke there from Klein. Lighten
Klein's
it up.
gonna get a speeding penalty, I think. We don't
He
have
was
time
on-
to get scoring, but
He was on the brakes pretty hard coming down pit road, and that's one of the big things. Nick Massey still running out there. He's out in the third spot. Johnny Thomas in the fourth spot. Chuck Sweeting, your race leader.
Josh Personette there in the 18 car is a lap down in the PRC esports cars of Riggs, Personette, and Sherman all had come down pit road on the same lap and a lap early. Being picked up by the field is really advantageous for Personette. He will run these laps a lot faster than these guys out there by themselves.
Here they come down pit road. There's Nick Massey, Johnny Thomas coming. We right on board with Johnny Thomas as you see him trying to get those cars slowed down to pit road speed. See Nick Massey right there in front of the 83 Belly Up sports car of Johnny Thomas.
To Belly Up Sports for all they're doing for us this tonight, and we'll have to see how the field shakes out after green flag pit stops. It's like Cameron Rich will be out front. He's already leading this line. There's one with Gerald Campbell as well. It's all about who they are able to pass, I think, going forward. And that's a risky move there, dropping to the apron through the tri-oval. It is not stable down there for Ty McIntosh. Hopefully he's able to keep that car on the bottom. Here comes the pack roaring around Hanshaw and the guys who just came out of pit road. So this is the group that now the passing for the lead is going to happen right here as Rich will go by Chuck Sweeting up there in that 75 car. And he does that. That'll be the pass for the lead.
It's going to get a little hairy here. Got a slapper up top. Cars coming off pit road trying to get up to speed, but it looks like we made it through there clear and clean.
Man, that was close. Chuck Sweeting held his line brilliantly, and he'll be right up here in this front pack, I think, without much trouble. I think Marshall Stanley there had kind of dropped down a little bit to avoid the lapped car and almost jumped into the 75.
All right. All right, Gerald Campbell, still one of the cars not to go down pit road yet.
I wonder
He's
if
running in the sixth position.
Because he definitely came down with the leaders that one time, but if he hasn't gotten any fuel or anything, that would be definitely problematic for his opportunity to win this race. We'll have to see if he comes down this time. Going to the top though, he might be okay.
You wonder, David, is he trying to maybe try to stretch it to lap 50? Trying to make it a one-stop race potentially?
I don't. He was on pit road. He was on pit road with these guys. I don't know if. I don't know if maybe the thing didn't update right or what. Jeff Green's back in the lead though. If Gerald didn't pit, he's going to run out of fuel pretty soon, and that would be surprising to me. I'm pretty sure he was on pit road with him.
Jeff Green back out to the race lead. 38 car, pretty comfortable. As you got Cameron Rich pushing him now as Green went to the top side and jumped back down to the bottom. And just like we saw in the duels, one lane gets a run, jump up and block the other one, or jump down and block the other one. And now Rich gets a little bit of separation from the 25 car of Marshall Stanley. Bottom line getting back together, getting a little bit of a run over that top line. They haven't formed up quite yet.
There's a new aspect to this front pack race. It's the Lucky Dog race between Kendall Noah Player and Dylan Thomas. 94 and 03 are in this front pack. Both of them, I think, involved in some incidents earlier in the race, and both of them one lap down, looking to get that lap back should a caution come out. So just kind of an added bonus to this big front pack.
Campbell looking back there now on the inside line, fourth car in line. led an early part of this race. And if it wasn't for Campbell out front, it's been Green. Cameron Rich has led a few laps.
Green's been
Scott,
up front for a while as well.
yeah, Scott Crump led our opening lap, but had connection issues. He's out of the race.
We'll call the Scott Crump connection issue. I like to call that the motor failure. Your computer is the motor in sim racing, and Crump's computer, his motor, just doesn't seem to be hanging up to snuff right now. It keeps failing on him. So hopefully Crump can get those issues resolved before next week. You hate to see a fast car get knocked out by something not of his own making.
Rich thinking about jumping up to the top side. That's where Campbell has gone now. He's leading that top line, trying to get back up here with Jeff Green. He's getting a push from Dalton Tucker. Second car in line is that top line starting to form back up once again.
I look at the way this race is played out, very green. We're almost halfway now without any caution flags, now without any incidents. We talked to Damian Leininger. We've looked at some of these other guys that have been riding in the back. Nick Massey's not pushing it we got some people in the wall there with the pack coming. Hopefully they're able to hold their lines up top. There goes Tyler Riggs one lap down. That's another one to join that lucky dog battle. Dylan Jones, I believe, as well, one lap down now, and Riggs blinking out there. 26 car also having some connection issues. But yeah, so the way this is played out as we approach and come to halfway now, I think you want to be up front. These guys who are going to be chasing up from the back, there's just not going to be any room to get up through the field from 20th spot. You have to pass all these cars that are already in the way. You're not just going to be able to drive around them. And once we make it 3 wide, I think that'll be the time where they crash. So that makes it tough for me. I think you've got to be up front right now in order to have a shot at this win, because the people coming up from the back are the ones that are going to cause those wrecks later on.
Well, I am looking Nick Massey now into the 9th spot. He was in the 10th spot, that top line gaining some momentum. But Johnny Thomas, one of the other big names so far in Speedways, he's still back there. And there goes Nick Massey. Nick Massey has been spun down to the inside.
Caution is out of it. We might have a big pile up behind Massey. He saved that car. Don't know whether or not anyone else was involved besides Bayuk there. Matthew Bayuk in the 29.
Actually,
we'd have to go back and take a look into the pack. I think those guys crashed checking up, and that's what caused the caution. Massey and Bayuk got together there. We were just talking about him too. But this race could have just completely changed on a dime. Take a look at the replay here. And before we do, once again, thanks to Belly Up Sports for bringing this, and welcome everybody. Hope you're having a good time, enjoying the race so far. It's been a good one. We'll have to see if any of your favorite drivers have been taken out by this one. Hopefully not. Here we go.
There's Nick Massey getting turned. He might have had a little bit of help.
Zishan and there's
way back there, way in the back. There was more action back there. There you go. Damian Leininger involved.
Harrison Talon involved as well. We might be able to get a better shot of some of these guys. iRacing not always the best with the rendering on replays, but that if Nick Massey were to be out of this, and Talon checks up big. Goodman gets involved. Damian with damage now. Goodman had more contact. My goodness. That was my sleeper pick right there, was the 73 car, and then Leininger as well, the 12 out.
All right. Well, I know Josh is going to be doing some work, but maybe here in a few minutes we can potentially get Damian up here. I know Emily has been sitting quietly by so far, sitting through the first 50 laps. Maybe we want to bring her in, just see her analysis of the race so far and what she has thought as well.
Yeah, hi guys. It looks like we're gonna chat with Damian. Damian, do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
So can you just kind of take us through what happened out there? What'd you see on the track?
Well, the car up there was blinking a little bit, so there was, yeah, every corner was a little puff of smoke, and then I saw them three wide, um, and we don't really know what was happening. And then coming off that corner, they saw another puff of smoke, and we'd been seeing it every time, so we just thought it was, another blink, and it ended up being a wreck. So by the time we can all check up, I hit in the back of somebody, and then just melee starts from there.
Is there anything that you feel like you could have done differently in that situation?
Not really. Like I said, you have so little visibility behind these cars when we're tucked up drafting. So you're really relying on the guys in front to tell you that they're wrecking. And really, nobody really came over the radio and doing that, because I don't think anybody really knew, because we were having that blink every single time, anyways.
I'm a little shocked that it took this long for something to actually happen. Are you a little shocked that it took this long for a crash to happen?
Not really. I mean, usually in this league, we're pretty easy with things. So once I saw it kind of start single filing out earlier, I knew they were kind of just wanting to ride around for a little bit. So it didn't really surprise me that we went about half the race caution free.
Well, there's a little bit less than half of the race left. What's the damage like to your car? Do you think you can get back out there?
I got fixed what I could. So really, I have to get in the draft and see what we can do once we're behind a car. I got a little bit of nose damage, and in the duels that didn't help me at all, and I think I got hit a little bit in the back. So we'll see. I mean, we're not going to know until we really get in the draft.
All right. Well, thanks for the time and good luck the rest of the way.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, and thank you, Emily. Glad we could finally kind of get you involved. I know you've been sitting patiently by halfway through this race, and glad to have you aboard this season.
Yes, me too. I tried to jump in earlier, way earlier in the race, and talk to Scott Crump, but there was like some connection issue, and I couldn't quite hear him. I don't know if he could hear me, so that didn't work out. But you guys have been doing an excellent job, and I'm excited for the rest of the race.
I'm sure David would agree. I'm sure this is probably not the last time we'll go to you, especially as the laps get close to as the race gets close to conclusion. Things are going to ramp up, and it's going to get pretty crazy. We're getting ready to go back green flag racing once again. Cameron Rich going to lead us back to the start-finish line.
Emily, I do have a request. I think you could jump into the Apex Sim Racing chat and go see how much damage Michael Goodman and Damien have.
Like how many seconds?
All right, let's see.
With that, we're back in the green. Gerald Campbell took the lead. Jeff Green gonna sneak out from underneath him. Go for the lead on himself on the bottom. Rich helping him, and Josh Clark pushing Gerald Campbell now.
Yeah, David, we talked about it. We saw a couple of those cars drop to the back, and you were talking about it before that caution came out, that being out front is probably where you want to be. I have to say, either Jared Campbell or Jeff Green are probably the favorites to win it now, wouldn't you say?
Oh, we've got a lot of good cars still up in it, but yes, I think those guys know what moves need to be made. They're definitely able to take those cars and put them wherever they want. I'm definitely expecting one of Jeff Green or Gerald Campbell to kind of come out with this, but Josh Clark has been really aggressive on the outside. Just before that crash, I was going to mention that Clark went outside of Adam Pettit by himself in the 28 car, passed him clean, and stepped back into line. So Clark is able to take that 28 car wherever he wants to go, and I think he's just now showing some speed.
Clark made an aggressive move there. That's what prompted that comment from David, and I think the rest of that top line kind of saw that, and now that top line has fallen apart a little bit, they got to wait for it to develop back up, and that's going to allow Campbell and Clark to kind of fall back a little bit. We'll finally get picked up by Brandon Key there on the top side, but that's allowed, I think, the top five to kind of go single file here on the bottom.
Well, while he's here, let's call out Chuck Sweeting. Remember, he stayed out a little bit longer than everyone else on those green flag pit stops in this 75 car, sneaking his way up into the top five. Just always watch out for this guy. He's always there. So Emily just got back. Emily, did you get how much damage those guys have? It looks like Damien's actually in the main pack. Oh,
Campbell into the wall,
Gerald
coming
Campbell
out of turn
at the
4.
wall, and hopefully he's recovers it. Wonder if we can get a replay of that one.
Cameron Rich, Brandon Key, and Pettit were 3 wide there for a minute.
Big moment there on the front straightaway. It could be race changing. Now it's Marshall Stanley following Jeff Green.
All right,
Like
we'll
there's
stay right. Jeff Green leading him around the top line, starting to develop again, and it's the 57 of Adam Pettit leading that top line. Here he comes. We could have another race leader here by the time we enter turn 4. Pettit looking to jump down. Now he might be caught in between the lines. Going to get a break and be able to jump back up to the top side. Jeff Green going to hold on to the race lead for the time being, though.
Marshall Stanley there in the 25.
Marshall Stanley there in the 25 as well.
Here comes Pettit to the top side, going to battle for the race lead at the line. Do we have another new leader? Or sorry about that, we're in the turn. Jeff Green still on the bottom side. Stanley, those 2 cars hooked together. I think the top line's formed up a little bit better, but see how it plays out.
It's like we've split off into 2 distinct packs now. You've got this top line moving forward and kind of pushing for the lead, and then there's a big gap there after Nick Massey to that second pack. There's the second pack right here, led by Ethan Burrell. It's like Colin Fambro might have a little bit of damage in that 5 car. He was one of those up front all race in our dual race. Damian Leininger there in the 12, Ryan Lutz in the 3. Leininger has that damage, but is able to keep it up in this front pack. Big damage to the rear end of that 12 car, but looks like he'll be all right in terms of if he can stay in the pack. Harrison Talon behind him with damage, but able to keep up with them as well.
Yeah, David, that's going to be something kind of interesting to note. Damian mentioned it in the interview with Emily, that in the duels, and I think it was the Clash too, he had quite a bit of nose damage, which slowed that car down, but maybe if you have some to the rear end, not as significant when it comes to speed here at Daytona. We look back up front. Pettit still trying to get to the race lead. Jeff Green still fending him off.
Green has done an excellent job. You know, we don't know really what happened to Gerald Campbell there through the front straightaway. But we do know is that Jeff Green is still up here fighting for the lead. Pettit and Rich working together now in that top lane. Clark to the top once again. He has been really the first aggressive driver to make moves 3 wide. Not able to get a big run down the back straightaway, though. Once he jumped out, it looks like it killed the momentum.
Campbell back to the 28th position right now. Thinking possibly he might be riding around. Don't know how much damage that 31 car has, but
you look at this top 10 now, and there's a couple of guys at the back of it that we haven't mentioned all race long. That'll be Joe Francis in the 50, Connor Trafari in the 09. Those guys have kind of worked their way up from starting near the rear. Trafari started 21st, but Francis started way in the back, mid-30s. He clearly has kind of bided his time and is now up into the top group.
Let me tell you, Cameron Rich is hanging out here in the top 5. He might be one of them to keep an eye on as we get towards the end. David was mentioning before the caution, he was fighting for the race lead. Now he's just kind of hanging out here in the top line. And a few cars that have kind of established themselves here solidly in the top 10.
And as we look through this group, Kyle Hanshaw in the 46 is in this top pack, but he, I believe, sped on pit road or something to that effect. He went a lap down before the crash after green flag pit stops. So Kyle Hanshaw definitely has had a pretty miserable start to today, to this ERSCA season. Clark to the top again.
Gonna go through 2 wide, 3 wide, potentially in that second row. As
Hanshaw,
Clark's
the
jumped
lapped
to the
car.
outside once again with Brandon Key.
Hanshaw, the lapped car, filling that hole. Thomas Sherman now in there, and those guys not appreciating Josh Clark, I don't think, making those moves. Clark being very aggressive in the 28. Definitely the only car we've seen in our first 65 laps that makes a move to the outside like that, but he's made them very often.
Brandon Key seems to be following him around the racetrack. I'm sure Key wants to find a way out to the front. We have to wonder with the evasive moves that Clark keeps making if anyone will really stick with him and help him out at all as we ride on board with Brandon Key and we watch Clark. He keeps looking to the outside here in that top row and down to the bottom. Was that Pettit diving down to the bottom there in front of Jeff Green?
Sure was. Adam Pettit to the race lead at Daytona. He has been up front all race, though I think Cameron Risch in the top line now, he might be able to get hooked up with Jeff Green, and that would be a pretty powerful combo, I think, if Green and Rich could maybe draft to the front.
Yeah, I think Rich would probably be the third strongest car we've seen so far behind Green and Campbell. Campbell now out of it for the time being, at least. Rich hanging right there on the door of Jeff Green on the bottom line. I think Green's trying to get up top, just can't get clear to do so.
Green is itching to get out of that spot. When you get into this second spot on the bottom, if you're not able to clear that outside car, you can really get trapped there. You know, Marshall Stanley has absolutely nowhere to go in the 25 car, so he's just got to stay glued to the back bumper of Jeff Green and hope that something happens to that top lane, that he can make a move out to the top side. The top lane seems to be like the place you can go to make a move. The bottom lane seems to be the place you can go to ride and keep your car safe.
And it seems like that top lane kind of falling apart a little bit. We got those 4-car tandem up front here trying to challenge, but other than behind that, I think Nick Massey might be the only one trying to jump up there and make it 5 cars. But other than that, most of the cars going down to the bottom, kind of single filing out there outside the top 15. They get way back there around the 30th place spot.
I think that's intentional too. Those guys are really trying to make it to the end of this race. We see the pack stream off of 4 here at Daytona. Beautiful sight always, but you look at who's in that second, this middle group. You got Nick Massey, right? You got let's see if we can see him here. Bogart's been there all race. Fambro is there. Just some guys being really smart. They're putting themselves in a good spot where nothing's going to happen around them. But this group has done an amazing job racing together so far today. I mean, it took a massive checkup and stack up with a near spin to actually create an incident. And even then, we've had most of those guys make it through. So I think we're in a good shape to have a really exciting run to the end here. Cameron Rich has been able to keep up with Adam Pettit on the top, but he has not been able to clear him and hasn't been able to fall back and get Jeff Green in front of him.
We're closing in already on the second round of pit stops. We're within about 10 laps of seeing everybody come down once again.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. We saw him at 35 to 40 in there. I think it was even like 38 to 40 was the pit stop laps. So, once we hit around 80, that's when I think we'll start seeing pit stops. But for now, I think everyone's just trying to get through that second pit stop, and then we will see a big gaggle of cars trying to all occupy the same space here.
There you see Marshall Stanley driving that Ford Mustang 25 car on the bottom line. We got a caution coming up. There it is.
Wonder what happened there. Might have been an incident in the back of the field. Might have just been a slow car spin or something along those lines. Something coming off pit road, but It's like Zishan Dura involved in whatever it was. Zishan's had a pretty miserable day, ran up in the front pack for a while, but got bounced off of in that incident with Massey, and now another incident. So we'll hit the replay here and see if we can find what happened.
So that will make it interesting with the pit stop situation. And sometimes when there is a caution and the driver decides to leave the session, iRacing doesn't like that very much, and we have technical issues with the replay, and that's exactly what happened back there. Producer Josh was trying to get us the replay queued up. Looks like we're not going to be able to see it. We do have our second caution of the night, and we have about 30 to go here in.
Josh is going to keep looking for us here. And iRacing is fickle about this. The loading and how many cars are rendering, and it can really throw off what happened in the replay. You know, I've done my fair share of producing at this point, and it's a hassle if the iRacing doesn't pull out the replay for sure. So please have our patience with Josh here. He's just working as best he can, and he's doing a great job. Josh did tell us that he Zishan blinked out and then got sideways, and that might have been the cause for the caution.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, David. I've done some producing now as well on the dirt racing side of things.
Pit road.
Yeah, I don't know what is up with that. That was quite interesting. Don't know who that was, but
it was in Delicato that ran into somebody. We need to go I think we need to take another look and see who was sitting on pit road there. Yeah, definitely an incident on pit road. And with pit road being so busy at Daytona, everyone came down pit road there. When that happens, those guys can really get tight and get into each other, and that's not even a standard thing.
Josh getting this replay loaded up for us so we can take a look at it. Here we go. Caught it right there. Oh, there's a car parked.
Looks like someone couldn't get to their pit stall.
Yeah,
I'm still not sure who that was that Indelicato ran into. I don't think that's Indelicato's fault at all. He's heading for his pit box. He's not expecting someone to be sitting on the track. And one of the things that iRacing does do is it renders out the cars that are in their pit boxes on pit road. And Indelicato probably expecting that guy to be rendered out and let you kind of ghost through him. And when he did that, ran right into him. Tough break. Indelicato had spent some time in the front, but I think he was involved in an incident earlier and had fallen back.
Looks like we have another driver out of the race. That'll be Scott Crump falling out of it.
Tough break on those connection issues. Crump hadn't really had any.
All right, I think we might try to bring Scott Crump in here, which would give Emily another chance to have an interview. All right, there he is. Emily, we'll send it down to you. You can interview Scott.
Hey, Scott, do you have a copy? Scott, do you have a copy?
All right. Well, Emily, we'll try to go back to you here in a little bit. Scott might have stepped away for a minute, but we'll try it again here in a little bit.
Sounds good. I'll be ready, you guys.
All right. Well, David, our pit stop issue is taken care of. Everybody should be pretty well good to go here to the finish.
That's the last of the pit stops. I think that these guys are not going to be on pit road again unless they have damage or have spun out. So I take a look through the top 10 real quick just to set things up. And two guys entering that we have not talked about that I think are definitely threats for this race is number one, the Elite Racing Daytona 500 winner Matthew Weeks in the 81 car, and then James Heater, who was very, very quick in the second dual race. He has snuck up into 10th in the 16 car.
I would expect they're sitting 14th and 15th on this restart. That's Nick Massey and Ethan Burrell Burrell to make their way up right now. Now would be the go time, right? Well, maybe give it a few laps, but start to try to plan your way back up to the front now for some of those guys that have been riding around now that we've made it through the pit stops. Wouldn't you say, David?
Yeah, I think now it's time to go. These guys have got to step it up. You know, if you've been riding in the back the whole race, you don't have much more time. You're starting to run low on laps to be able to move to the front of the field.
Yeah, and we've seen it's not super easy to make your way through. You kind of have to wait it out. And down to the bottom goes Jeff Green blocking. Pettit there who got a run. And now that'll put Tucker on the top side as the lead car.
Jeff Green's been doing that the whole race, top to bottom, moving lanes, leading the lane that he is in. That 38 car's been very strong, definitely the strongest one that we've been able to watch tonight. Just want to give a shout out to the head of Belly Up Sports, Mike Brown. Thanks for letting us put this on, Mike. We appreciate everything you're doing for us, and we're glad that we get to bring this to you.
Riding on board with Marshall Stanley here as they hit close to 100. There he goes, across the 190-mile-an-hour marker. He's running third in line on that bottom line right now, drawn up on the back of Cameron Rich there on the outside.
Wow,
2x2 for a ways back.
Yeah, you see how long this group of two by two goes. You know, the guys who've been running in the back the whole race, like Leininger, like Ryan Lutz, you know, those guys are not going to be able to just carve their way through like you might with the Cup cars where the runs are big and kind of back and forth. You're going to have to be patient with it, and that may lead to some bold moves that may be not too advisable. So it depends on the desperation as to whether or not these guys are able to make it to the end of this race.
I don't think 2 cautions is going to be our final total either. I'm sure as we get down here in the closing laps, I presume we'll probably have a big one in store. Now it's Tucker on the bottom trying to make it work with Pettit.
Yep,
and here comes Jeff Green back down to block once again.
Jeff Green has done that the entire race, and that's been his move. You know, losing that lead from the middle line, he's able to generate, I think, easily the most run of anybody to the leader coming up off the bottom, off of turn 2, and jumps to the outside and is able to make that move work every time. That Nick Massey up top falling back?
That's what I thought too. I thought I saw the 48 car jump out of line.
How about that? So maybe Nick Massey knows something we don't. He's headed to the back after we're talking about crunch time. There's Johnny Thomas, another one who's, I think he's just been riding the whole race. Maybe Massey going back there to find the head of the league and run with him.
So I would say this is probably, we figured out the number 1 head scratcher of the race. That was Scott Crump having connection issues when he dropped to the back off of lap number 1, but kind of got to question the motive here for Massey, right? As we close in on 25 to go.
I mean, you know, this is the guy who won the championship. It's a little bit harder to criticize. I think he knows that he needs to bring this car home in one piece. Doesn't think he'll get it home in one piece if he's running in this front pack.
He had been in and out of the top 10 all day. Now he tucks in back there outside the top 15, top 20-ish area. 25 to go. Jeff Green out in front once again. Cameron Rich trying to get that top line hooked up as he's on the outside there as we ride on board. Taking a rear view look. He's got Clark pushing him on that top line.
Everyone all fanned out, nice and too wide. This pack is definitely the biggest it's been all race. And Rich will go flashing by Green.
Wouldn't be surprised to see Rich dive to the bottom, and as I say that, there he goes. Now he's going to caught in between lines. Finally will go down to that bottom line and pick up Jeff Green. That's going to move Jeff Green out of line for a minute. In Delicato sitting on pit road.
might have had another incident there. Josh looking quickly for the replay while they're all nice and spread out. Coming to 20 to go. No, maybe. And Delicato did have the damage from the pit road incident, so that could have been the factor.
Yeah, it might have had some engine issues or something go wrong there. Not the way he wants to start the season.
I'm looking in this top. Oh, Brandon Key's going to be in the wall. That's going to be the big one.
There they come across the line, 2, 3 cars through the infield. There's Johnny Thomas riding through, Nick Massey jumping down below, but Brandon Key taking a significant amount of damage there. Got together with a couple cars. Is that Pettit that got involved too?
Thomas Sherman involved, Dana Pettit involved. That was a big crash. I think those guys actually did a wonderful job slowing down. We'll have to check maybe and see if anyone else has damage, but Brandon Key definitely got the worst of it there, and I think he took out Thomas Sherman as well. So tough break for a bunch of those guys, but yeah, not as big a wreck as I thought it was going to be there, that's for sure.
No, I agree with you, David. It looked really bad when it started, and it turns out to be just a 3-car pileup, it looks like. We had some cars drive through the infield, but don't think that was too much damage. As it all started because we had a car coming back up on track off of pit road.
I think we're a lap early there, Josh. About 30 seconds late. We're good.
All right, Josh will work on getting us that replay.
What I expect happened there was I think Key was in line with Heater and those other guys, and the push kind of checked back. And when Key got checked back, he got turned into the wall and then turned sideways in front of the field. I was just going to mention James Heater running in the top 5 here, and has pushed Josh Clark to the outside of the lead. Goes up here, and Key, see that right there, the bad bump from Connor Trafari, crosses in front, takes out Marshall Stanley, Adam Pettit, and Thomas Sherman.
Pettit kind of got it there at the end, got a little bit of help, but you can see that nose completely destroyed off the Brandon Key car. David was spot on there with his.
Yeah, we'll go on board with Brandon Key here. And, a car sideways in front of the field, I expect, 5, 10, 15 cars at minimum. And we managed to get out of it losing only 2 or 3 there. I'd call that a fortunate incident.
Yeah, usually when a car spins in the middle of the pack like that, that's the #1 spot for the big one, and a couple cars involved, but looks like we're going to be okay.
Tough break for Marshall Stanley there. Got caught up in someone else's incident completely, and tough break for Thomas Sherman as well. 6 car just coming back across the track, took 2 guys out. That's a tough break, but that's just is what it is.
See a few of those cars coming down pit road. There's Campbell coming down as well. All right, I think we're going to bring Brandon Key here into the booth with us in just a minute. As soon as we see him come in, we'll send it on down to Emily for another interview. All right, there he is. So let's send it down to Emily. Emily?
Hey, Brandon, do you have a copy?
I got you.
All right, can you just take us through what happened out there? What'd you see?
I don't know if that was on me or not. I know I got a little loose coming off of 4 there, but I don't know if I came down on somebody or they came up into me. I'm sure y'all had a better view of it.
Yeah, it looked like it just kind of came out of nowhere, like you kind of came up on somebody there. Do you think that you could have done anything different?
No, I mean the runs are so big, and then the cars in front of you start checking up. You have nowhere to go, and then once you lift, the guy behind you runs into you, and it causes your car to go left and right. And if there's somebody beside you, then you're gonna go around.
Do you kind of know what the damage is like to your car right now?
Oh yeah, it's pretty much totaled.
We are super sorry to hear that. With only 20 laps to go, what's kind of the challenge been for you tonight?
I'm just not being able to pass. We get big runs on the outside, and then the guy from the inside line will block the run. And we tried to make it go 3 wide a few times, and it's just we can't get enough cars to get up there and do it.
All right, Brandon, thanks for the time.
I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Emily, once again, being our pit road reporter, interviewing Brandon Key there, main
Yeah.
participant in that wreck there. What's that, David? Go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't even think Brandon necessarily knew that there was any contact between him and the 09 car. You know, we probably could have brought it up to him, but it's probably better that we didn't. Definitely got spun there. Not necessarily Connor Trafari's fault. That's a product of this racing, but definitely when Trafari got up underneath or got it to the outside of Key there after the slight bit of checkup as Key got loose. That's what caused the wreck. Just a racing deal for sure, but you hate to see it for Thomas Sherman. Brenton, I think Marshall Stanley will be all right, but Thomas Sherman did DM me and say I've never gone clean on a super speedway. So frustrating night for sure for the 23 car.
All right, just kind of looking through so far our top 10. Kind of quietly sneaking in here. Tate Lytle in there in the 8th position. Connor Trafari, Giovanni Klein back up in the top 10. Damien Leininger in the 11th spot.
And
So names starting to make their way back up.
Behind him right there is the 3 of Ryan Lutz, and those two working together, that's dangerous for the rest of the field. Also, shout out to Robert Hill in the 05. He ran well in his dual race, has kind of quietly hung out at the back, looking to kind of keep that 05 up here in the front pack. But Adam Risch, Jeff Green on the front row, leading him back to green.
The two cars that have been going at it since before the halfway point now. Cameron Rich, Jeff Green. Trying to battle it out here to win. The Dayz Gone By 250 to start the ERSCA season. Cameron Rich getting a big push here. Top line not getting that push. Three cars going to get separated here. We'll see if James Heater, that third car in line, wants to jump up to the top side and maybe bring them along.
Josh Clark's another one I would expect to jump up to the top at some point. This 28 car has been very aggressive and very fast all day long. Definitely looking to kind of move that car to the lead, I'm sure.
I think that's Mogard up there on the top line.
Jared Mogard, first time we've seen him since spinning out. There goes Klein to the inside. He just slowed up in front of Damian Leininger. Damian had nowhere to go. Bump draft on the tri-oval there, sent Klein sideways. If he's able to keep it on the apron here, I think everything will be all right.
Yeah, he'll lose a lot of positions, but I think he's going to be able to bring it back up there and be okay, but that separates that bottom line.
Going to give Mogard the run on the top. Help from Jeff Green. Jared Mogard going to be looking for the lead coming off turn 4. The run is there.
2 by 2, 3 rows deep here as it's a 6-car breakaway. Will eventually be picked back up by the pack behind them, but
big bump draft line there. Look at that bump draft from Jeff Green. Shoots Jared Mogard to side-by-side with Rich. I don't think he got Rich at the line, though. But look at how close Jeff Green is to the back bumper of this 00 car. Has to be careful that doesn't spin out the 00. As long as Green can keep that car right there, though, I think these two will drive it to the front. Robert Hill jumped in front of Damian Leininger, pulled that bottom lane up, but here goes Green underneath Mogard.
Yeah, the Mogard's going to get sent to the back. He got left out to dry up there on the top line. He's falling fast outside the top 10. Jeff Green wants the lead back. He wants to be back out front. And he's leading that top line push by Tucker as they make their way around once again.
You mentioned him there, third car on the outside line. That's Tate Lytle. Absolutely looking for a good result today. Another one of those guys had some bum luck at Speed Weeks along with Thomas Sherman, but Tate looking to correct that with a good run tonight and potentially a win. He's certainly in position for it here up into 5th spot.
Some of those guys that we have been riding around a little bit, starting to make their way slowly up to the front. I know David mentioned it. Heater up here now. Tate Lytle, we just mentioned, making his way. And top 2 jumping down. That's Tucker and Green to the bottom line. That's going to put Lytle up there leading the top line now.
How well can Connor Trafari push? We haven't seen him up front much all day. Rich and Lytle with a little bit of contact. 47 car got a little bit tight. Coming out of the corner, riding behind the 24. Just the slightest bit of contact. 14 laps to go.
Yeah, that was really close. Contact almost between Rich and Lytle. Top line making room now. Tate Lytle looking to take over the race lead from Jeff Green.
Oh, this is thrilling stuff right here. These guys are nose to tail, door to door, lead changing constantly, the momentum shifting every lap. Lytle,
Tate
oh,
Lytle
clear.
is clear. I don't know if he's going to be able to be clear enough, though, to jump down in front of Jeff Green. And here comes the bottom line back again. Green going to make a run, draw even with Lytle once again as they come back towards the line.
Trifari was pushing on Tate Lytle, and you see him there on the right side of the rear car, the rear bumper of Lytle. If Trifari keeps pushing on that, he's going to spin Tate Lytle in front of this field. That's not a good place to push. You want to be even up with that car in front of you. If you're squared off like that, you're just going to hook them because of the way these cars are built on the surface. See, even as Trifari's not necessarily square with Tate, that's hurting the outside lines of momentum here, but now they get square and Tate able to push up to Jeff Green once again.
You think that possibly could be a move to get some air to that 09 car, or you think that's just the way he's decided to push Lytle here on that top line?
Yeah, it could be to get air. You know, these cars overheat pretty quickly. We did see some cars blow their motors in the, I believe Scott Crump maybe blew his motor in the dual race, but no, I think that move is to get, you know, in a comfortable spot where you can kind of see what's ahead of you there, and Trifari trying his best to, you know, I think keep the air in that car, but also to keep himself in line on the outside lane there without doing anything. But he's got to be careful, man. The net code on these cars is so brutal.
Working on 12 laps to go. Laps winding down quickly here since our last caution.
And you'll notice, you know, we've seen, we've seen these guys who've been up front. You know, Jeff Green, Tucker, you know, Dalton Tucker, you got Adam Rich, all these guys, or Cameron Rich, all these guys up here, Josh Clark. They've been racing up for the lead this entire race. You know, Chuck Sweeting's been up here being smart. And even then, these other guys that have moved up, they were guys who were close to the field and within striking distance. I just don't see a spot where, you know, hanging back for that long is actually going to help you out here. Mogard now up top, but I think he bounced it off the wall. That's not going to help things. Trying to get a third line going, but I think we'll see one here once we get inside 10 to go.
Yeah, it's about to get real intense here as we close in on the conclusion of this Dayz Gone By 250. Lytle hanging on the door panel there of Jeff Green for the race lead. That top line still not really being able to get the push to draw quite even just yet as we come to 10 to go.
Consistently, guys trying to make that outside line work. Johnny Thomas up there, Ryan Lutz up there in the back. Just nowhere to go. Like I said, track position is king at Daytona.
With those cars moving around back there on that top line, David's kind of said it a couple times, it's hurting the momentum, and now here you go. Cameron Rich jumps up to the top side in front of Tate Lytle.
And even further up, it's Matthew Weeks up trying to make it 3 wide in the 81 car. That's not going to work, though. Weeks not going to be able to make any ground up there by himself. Teammate Ethan Burrell much too far back. Ooh, Clark sideways off turn 4.
I think that was Clark that almost went sideways there. Third car in line on the bottom line behind Tucker and Green. Rewind back there once again. That's Burrell to the top side.
Pettit recovering nicely after spinning in that crash with Brandon Key. See all these guys back here with damage. That damage is from the Nick Massey near spin, and Lytle to the middle. Tate Lytle's going to kick Rich up top. Rich will slam the door on Lytle. Lytle gave him a break there.
I was going to say, David, you could almost feel it. You know, they say the driver.
They're 4 wide. They're going to crash.
You could say, yep. I was going to say the drivers can feel when the wrecks are going to happen. I could feel it up here in the booth. There's Johnny Thomas involved. Pettit gets a bump. Weeks in there.
Oh, man. That was not going to work. 4 wide entering turn 3. That's just asking for a big crash there. And I don't even think this crash was all that big. A lot of these guys are going to make it through okay, especially our front group.
You could feel it was about to happen We were inside 10 laps to go. Moves were starting to be more aggressive. And sure enough, our 4th caution of the night. As we get ready to look at a replay here.
This could have been a massive accident. I think that we have been incredibly fortunate that we've had some of these accidents only be as much as they have. Oof, this could have been 20-car accident. But yeah, Johnny Thomas was kind of I think the key factor in this. Here's the onboard. To the outside of Ryan Lutz. Right there, 4 wide. Robert Hill, Damian Leininger, Joe Francis, and Weeks. Hill involved, Weeks involved. Fambro's got a little bit of damage.
I think Thomas really got turned there. He didn't really do too much. He just checked up with that 4 wide going on in front of him.
We could maybe ride on board with Damian, Josh, if he kind of started that with going down underneath guys who were already together, and then I think it was where Weeks made contact with Joe Francis's rear. That's what caused the accident.
But regardless there, David, like you said, 4 wide at Daytona usually doesn't turn out very good, and it didn't in this situation either.
Right there, you see it. Contact between Hill and Francis, then Weeks gets it, and man, look at the save by Damian.
He's hanging in there.
Yeah, that damage is not helping him, but he's able to make it work anyway. That's why we're kind of on board with him, following along with Damian Leininger throughout the day. Doing a really good job there, and I don't think that wreck was anything near his fault. Just a kind of the pack coming together, as it were. It's going to be about a 10-car crash, I think, overall. But it's going to set up a wild last run.
Yeah, and that may not be the last time we see the caution flag wave here. You could feel the energy in the pack there that something was about to happen, and with 7 to go, the first win of the season on the line, along with that $40. It's going to make these guys pretty aggressive. See what will happen. We'll see if Jeff Green can hold them all off. All right, we're going to bring Johnny in here to the booth with us, so we'll send it back down once again to Emily to interview Johnny.
Hey, Johnny, do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Emily.
Can you just kind of tell us what happened out there? What did you see on the track?
It's a whole bunch of cars in front of me, and it looks like somebody, I don't know, you guys probably had a better view of it. It looks like somebody tried to go 4 wide. I don't know what happened, but that's not recommended, especially at Daytona with how narrow it is. I just wanted somewhere to go. When you get back there, and it's my fault for getting back there, you can't pass, and everybody just double file, and I was trying to make a groove up top there. We had it going, and right when we had it going on that lap, they crashed. So I don't know what happened. You guys probably have a better idea.
Do you kind of feel like there's anything that you could have done differently in that situation, although you couldn't really see what was happening?
You can always do things differently. When you're in the back like that and it gets that crazy, you kind of want to be on the bottom. You tend to, when you're on the bottom, you got so much more space to work with. When there is a wreck, when you're up top, you can't do nothing about it. So I was helpless there once the wreck happened, and being 3-4 wide, you can't do anything about it. Just close your eyes, hit the gas.
Right. Dave and Dom both said about like 5 seconds before that crash happened that they felt like something was going to happen. Did you kind of sense like there might be a crash coming up before it happened?
Yeah, and it's just plate racing. When it gets down to the closing laps and people's trying to go for it, and the pushes get a little bit more aggressive, and you start seeing 2 wide turn to 3 wide, and then it just all breaks loose. It's the same thing that happens here every single time we go to Daytona and Talladega. It's the same thing in real life that happens. You just push a little bit harder, and it backfires.
Well, Johnny, we appreciate your insight, and thanks for the time tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Emily. Have a good one.
You too.
All right. Thank you, Emily. We'll see. We potentially probably could go to you one more time here as we got 6 to go. If not, we'll definitely see you in the post-race interviews. Green flag coming back in the air. Jeff Green getting a push from Cameron Rich on the bottom line as we got 5 to go here to decide this one.
You saw Tate Lytle give a really big shot to Dalton Tucker. That did not help matters for the outside line. You need that push to be smooth, and the push Tate gave to Tucker was really disruptive, and it actually hurt the momentum that 24 was able to generate. And we have a crash in the back of the field. They were 4 and 5 wide entering the corner. Yeah, just trying to grab for too much room there. I think we're definitely going to have to take another look at this one. Everybody kind of jostling for position going into the corner with some damaged race cars.
Possibly Dylan Thomas involved here in this one. All right, Josh is going to pull up the replay here in a second, but Dylan Thomas definitely involved.
Right there, yep, 3 wide. Ethan Burrell, nowhere to go. Looks like he's going to skate by okay. Nick Massey is involved in this.
Johnny Thomas involved in it again as well. Saw the 83 car go around.
We can take another look at it from a perspective of near or centered on Ethan Burrell there.
David, I'd assume this would probably make it a green-white checkered finish to decide it here.
I think you're absolutely right. Here's the way this. You see how 3 wide everyone is, and Jones just closes up the hole that Burrell's trying to occupy. Ooh, man, very close there to Burrell. And look at that, another crash after Adam Pettit. After the cautions, people slowing up for the caution. Adam Pettit gets spun. Couldn't tell who spun him there. Might have been Lafferty.
I think it was Johnny Thomas that got up into Nick Massey there, giving him some contact.
Yeah. Massey involved in this one as well. Another one of those guys that has tried out that hanging in the back strategy. And it really looks like Jeff Green has been the one to play this thing out the right way, or at least the way that'll kind of get a shot at the win.
Yeah, it's almost like it's a 50-50 chance. Sometimes you hang out in the back, you get caught up in the wreck. Sometimes you hang out in the back, and it turns out to work in your favor today. Not the case. Some of those guys riding along in the back. Jeff Green's used that track position all race long up here up front, and he's 3 laps away and got to hold off the rest of the guys from taking the first win of the season.
Bring in Cameron Rich real quick and see if he can't provide us with what his plan is to take down Jeff Green.
All right, Cameron Rich is in the booth, so we'll send it down to Emily.
Hey, Cameron, do you have a copy?
Hey, what's up? Got you loud and clear.
Perfect. So it looks like we have 3 to go. What's your strategy to finish out this race tonight?
Not crash. It's been wild, but you know, it's a crapshoot, so I'll try my best here. And I've been working really well with Jeff all night. We've been pushing. He's been pushing me. I've been pushing him. But we'll see where it goes at the end. I know Daytona can pretty much go anyway, so if I don't end up in the fence, I'll be happy.
What would you say has kind of been the biggest challenge for you out there tonight?
Just managing the engine temps. If you stay tucked up behind somebody too long, you will overheat your motor. So you really have to get those pushes in to where you can keep the momentum going, but not blow your motor. So just kind of managing that, you know, managing the stack ups and stuff. It's there's a lot of stuff going around you at all times. So you got to just kind of, you know, not take it in too much and do the best you can with it.
Yeah, there's been quite a few crashes tonight. How do you think you have managed to stay out of crashing?
I think I've been ahead of most of them. I saw a couple in my mirror. Somebody hit the wall real hard. I saw in that last caution, but haven't really had to be too many or in too many crashes to actually avoid them tonight. So that's pretty good. That's what I want to do tonight.
And is there, with only 3 to go, is there a point where you're going to get a little aggressive to try to take over the lead here?
Yeah, as soon as we go green, that's pretty much all we got to do. Just got to go out there and try to win the race.
Thanks so much for the time. Good luck the rest of the way.
All right, Emily, thanks once again for the interview. And if we don't have anyone else to talk to wreckage-wise, we'll definitely have you talk to our race winner. We'll find out in hopefully just 3 short laps. Have to love Cameron Rich's answer there to keys to winning the race, and that's don't wreck.
The winner likely will not be involved in a wreck here tonight, I think. So, yeah, Jeff Green, Cameron Rich, Josh Clark, James Heater, the top 4, and all 4 of them have been clean all race, not involved in anything. I think, in fact, the entire top 10 right now clean. Maybe not Bayuk in 9th. I think he's been involved in something so far, but besides that, everyone up near the front, no damage.
I think you're absolutely right there, David. Here we go. 3 to go. We'll see if we'll have to try it once again. Green flag in the air. 3 laps left to go for the Dayz Gone By 250 to start the ERSCA season. Jeff Green on the bottom line. Cameron Rich on the top line. We'll see who can get the better push as we go through 1 and 2.
These guys are all really pushing hard now. 2 laps to go. It is crunch time. The 3 Toyotas lined up on the top side, Chevy on the bottom, then followed by a Toyota and a Ford.
You got Clark on the second car on the bottom line pushing Jeff Green, and then you got James Heater up there on the top line pushing Cameron Rich.
And Jeff Green through 3 and 4. We will see the white flag this time by.
That means once we take the white, we're racing back to the finish line.
Oh, man. Chris
All right.
Crashed Chuck Sweeting there for about 10th spot.
Next one back to the line wins it. Doesn't matter if we have a wreck or anything else. It's back to the stripe. First one there wins the Dayz Gone By 250. And it looks like Jeff Green getting a good push here from Clark, but Clark's been very aggressive. We'll see if he tries to pull something here. There we go. They're wrecking. There goes Jeff Green. Big one happening here. Cameron Rich going to get through. Tate Lytle gets tagged. It's going to be Cameron Rich all alone. No one in his rearview mirror. Here he comes back to the stripe. Cameron Rich is going to win the Dayz Gone By 250. How about that? The big one strikes in the last lap. Looks like Personat going to come across in second. Player third, Campbell, Hill, Burrell, Lutz, Stanley, Thomas, and Goodman. Rounding out the top 10.
Kendall Player has been multiple laps down today. He was 1 down for a majority of this race, and he's going to finish it in third. $40 to Cameron Rich and a big points day to start the season. My goodness, we're going to need to take a couple of looks at that finish, I think.
Well, David, I go back to the interview Emily just had with him, and what did he say to answer the question, how is he going to win it? Not be involved in the crash, and that's exactly what just happened.
Oh my goodness, that was something else right there. Josh Clark kept his foot in it on the bottom. I don't know that Tate Lytle would have had a chance to bypass Rich there coming off of turn 4, but Tate had been the last one to kind of get through it, and then Clark coming back up on the track absolutely took out the Tate Lytle car. Just a absolute melee there. It started from about 4th or 5th spot, and those guys were just too close together. A little bit of contact going down the back straightaway, and it cycled up to Jeff Green, which is absolutely insane. Green had been so good all day long. Got to be disappointing.
Normal Daytona finish. Absolute chaos on the last lap. Here you go. Looks like Heater comes down a little bit. Clark on the bottom line.
We're still in turn 2 here, so it isn't until like the end of the back straightaway. But yeah, these guys are. It's a push right here from Tucker to Clark, right there. Right there. It's Heater.
Heater came down, got into Clark.
And that look, it's so slow. Green's turning back to the right. He can't get it to stay. 38 car on the wall. Race done. And Rich gets into Clark. Look at this pack all jumbled up.
somehow Cameron Rich keeps that car straight. He's going to go
Damian
away
Leininger was
from
the only one
everybody.
not to get touched. And then, oh yeah, 09 upside down. Connor Trafari, Bayuk is involved. They're crashing back here as well.
Yeah, here goes the second wreck right there. Sorry, still flipping.
We should probably run back and see what happened to Damian there coming through 3 and 4. He looked like he was going to get out of there second with some momentum. I think he got caught up when Clark came back up on the track.
All right, here you go, David. We're going to queue up and on board here with Damian. We're going to watch this all transpire.
Look, he knows the wreck's happening. He knows it's going to come, and there it is on the binders. Slowing down. Oh, got to move there, and then watch the car come back up on the track here. Mogard comes up and puts Damian in the wall.
There goes Tate Lytle.
Another one into him there, and then the field piling in because people are trying to make big passes. Look at this thing. Just an absolute melee coming to the finish.
Cars flipping all over the place. That Leininger car looks very reminiscent of his dual car. Front nose completely gone off of that car.
You gotta... Man, we even had more crashes here coming to the line. Bayou crashes.
Chaos. Absolute chaos on that
Chaos
last lap.
line. Everyone going for as many points as they can muster. You know, it's just a tough break there. And everyone really going for it at the end of this race, creating that chaos. Cameron
Rich will take the win here at the Dayz Gone By 250.
Insane night of racing. We had such a good race. A lot of lead changes there. I don't know, Josh, if you can maybe pull up how many lead changes we did make it to. But right, well, I know for a fact, and we'll see it on when we get the points up later. But probably at least 30 or 40 lead changes there tonight, and Jeff Green showing off a dominant performance. Just an absolutely exciting race, and what a great start to the ERSCA season.
All right, so we're going to bring our top 3 in here, and we're going to send it down to Emily to interview our third place finisher here tonight, Kendall Player.
Hey, do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got y'all.
Perfect. So third place at Daytona is pretty good. How'd you feel about the race tonight?
I felt pretty good. I want to apologize to, I guess, the 13. I think it was him that I got into when we checked up earlier. They just kept checking up, and I got into them. I didn't expect that many checkups. I ruined his night. After that, my car wouldn't suck up very well. But it's Daytona, so you got to fix your damage and then just ride it out and see what happens. And then just kind of find a hole there at the end like I did and get third somehow. And I want to apologize to Nick Massey, I guess that's how you say it, the 48, for getting into him in the penultimate caution, I guess, or the last caution. I locked them up and slid. I was in the Discord with Josh, and he called it out, and I went low to get away from him, and I didn't know he was already checking up down low. So I got him involved in it and at the back end of it, so I'm sorry to him too.
Well, like you were saying, that quite literally sums up how it goes at Daytona. Were you kind of surprised or not at all that it came down to the final lap?
I'm not really surprised. I told the guys in Discord, I was like, it's probably we're only gonna use one green white checkered here if we're gonna pile it up. We still had 30 something cars on the lead lap there at the end, and I think we managed to wreck all of them. But we had a lot of guys that were mixed in with damage, a lot of bad damage, and some with slight damage, kind of like I had, and that doesn't mix well sometimes. But it worked out for me. So
It did. Well, now that you have this kind of first race under your belt of the season, what are you looking forward to for the rest of the season?
Just kind of carry the momentum through like I did with the incident there. Find a hole anytime I can and just kind of keep the good finishes rolling. Because that's all you can do in a long season like this.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the time and congrats on winning third tonight.
Thank you.
Hey, Josh, do you have a
I
copy?
do.
All right. Well, congrats on second place tonight. What was your key race takeaway from the race?
Chaos. Absolute chaos at the end. I knew it was coming, and I just didn't know when, and it showed its ugly face in the middle of 3 and 4.
Is there anything that kind of surprised you about the race tonight?
Not really. This league puts on good speedway races, so I was surprised. No, not really. No.
Well, what was your strategy coming into tonight, and did it play out for you?
I mean, honestly, my strategy was just ride around the entire race and wait for the big one. I mean, there was opportunities where I could have went to the front, but I decided to just ride around because I knew the big one was coming. I just didn't know when, and I got lucky at the end. Net coded through like 4 or 5 cars and somehow came home second.
Yeah, well, when the race started, did you kind of think that you might end up in the top 3, or was that a surprise for you?
That was a big surprise. Honestly, I probably would have been happy with a top 20 finish. I mean, this field is stacked from first to 43rd. I mean, anybody in this field could win. So anything above a top 20 would have been good for me. But to come home P2 after that whole debacle in turns 3 and 4, that's just crazy.
Is there anything that you're kind of particularly looking forward to for the rest of the season after this race tonight?
I'm just looking forward to racing in this league. I mean, Johnny Thomas, he does a fantastic job with every single aspect of this league, and he makes it a fun environment to race in. So I'm just excited to race in the rest of the season.
Well, before we let you go tonight, are there any shout outs that you want to give?
I want to thank Gerald Campbell, my teammate in front of me there, for convincing me to go high on that last lap there in turns 3 and 4, and that's what ultimately made me get through that. I want to thank Jordan Owens and SMI Productions for coming on board and sponsoring me. I know he's pretty stoked about the P2, and I just want to thank everybody at PRC Esports.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for the time, and congrats on coming in second tonight.
Thank you so much.
All right. And now we're going to bring in our race winner, Cameron Rich, and we'll send it back down to Emily.
He's in the ERSCA hauler.
Cameron, do you have a copy?
Hey, what's up? Yeah.
All right. Well, congrats on winning first place tonight. Why do you think you were so successful on the track out there?
Probably because I was the only one that didn't wreck there in turn 3. What the heck happened? But everybody just decided to hit the wall and go in the grass and stuff. And my old car out here is really damaged and puttering along, and somehow I made it to the line first. So it was pretty cool. But we had a strategy there at the end to try to just. Once I got outside of Jeff Green there, I was just trying to hold the line, and I knew I was going to get a good push from behind. And then that push turned into a shove, and off we all went.
Yeah, you told me about 3 laps before the finish that the key to winning the race was to not wreck. And you were kind of the lone driver there at the end. How were you able to kind of avoid all of that chaos?
I really don't know. Something was. It looked like a. I was gonna say a video game, but this is a video game. It looked like I was bouncing along out there, and there was cars trying to hit me, and somehow my car just kept straight. I just kept the wheel straight, and I was like, "Oh, whatever happens, happens here." Driving to turn 3, and there's turn 4. You see the start finish line, and it's like, wow, I can't believe. There's nothing in my mirror at that point. I couldn't actually believe it because we were so packed up there before the wreck.
Yeah, well, you also told me that you were going to start to try to get aggressive to take over first as soon as the green went down. So was that kind of your strategy, or do you think it just played out in your favor?
Yeah, that was my strategy. I was going to do everything I could to try to get there because I was starting behind. I started behind, or actually that one I started right beside Jeff. And typically the outside line wasn't going all night for whatever reason, and I just seemed to get a pretty good restart there and was able to hold him. So the 28 behind me gave me a really good push, but I think that push is one of the reasons why we all kind of ended up crashing because these bumpers don't line up at all. So we were all just trying to get what we can there at the end, and I think that's just Daytona.
Into the race tonight, did you think that you would end up in the top 3, let alone winning this race tonight?
Not really, no. Daytona and me are like oil and water. They just don't mix. I'm not a restrictor plate driver. I think a good day for me is when I don't end up in the catch fence. So, hey, to come out with a win, I'll take it. Good way to start the season. Got Kyle Hanshaw, my car out here, and we're gonna try to put out a good show for him.
Yeah, well, winning the season opener, I would say, is quite a statement. Do you think that maybe now a target is on your back as the person that should be beat tonight or this season?
I definitely think so. I know guys like Adams and Indelicato, they're going to be real fast all season long. I've raced them before. Really good guys. They're going to be tough week in and week out, but just going to do what I can. Come out here, do these races the best I can, and we'll see what happens. Have fun with it. This was a last minute deal, so I wasn't really even expecting to race. But like I said, Kyle got me a deal put together. Got to thank him, and it's gonna be a real fun one.
All right. Well, before we let you go, are there any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, just Johnny and Kyle for the deal, and everybody for putting on the race tonight. It was real fun, real good, and you guys for doing the broadcast. I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at it after this race. Peeked in during the broadcast a little bit, trying to get some secrets, but it looked like it was pretty good. Can't wait to watch it.
Awesome. Well, Cameron, thanks so much for the time and congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Emily. We're going to pull up a replay here. Sorry, David, talked you over there for a second.
No, you're good. I was just going to lead into the replay that we're going to grab. I got a message from Ryan Lutz telling us to go look at his replay there. Just so we can kind of close out over something so everyone's not just staring at the overhead of Daytona the rest of the way here. But yeah, Dom, you got any other final thoughts on this one before we close it down?
I don't think anyone could have predicted how that one was actually going to unfold there on the last lap. I figured there might be a big one, but I didn't think it was going to be that big, and quite the crazy finish here to end this one, but exciting here for the ERSCA season, and congrats there to our top 3. What about you, David? Any final thoughts?
I think that Daytona is an entirely different animal from the rest of the races that we run. We kind of watch Ryan Lutz, he's gonna drift through on the grass the entire way through here. We see a race like this once a year, and we're not going to see anything like this again. I think this is once in a season kind of a deal. Absolutely craziness, wild finish. We saw it on Tuesday or on Sunday night in the Daytona 500. Daytona is just a different animal, and we saw that again tonight. Cameron Rich was up front all night. Hate it again for Jeff Green. He was absolutely in the catbird seat, looking to take the win. And with a big crazy finish like this, you see Ryan Lutz there drifting on the grass while they all crash in front of him. A lot of cool, interesting names in the top 10 that really weren't there the whole time, and just it's Daytona, man. This was perfect. You know, we saw Michael Goodman get involved in a wreck earlier on. He finished 10th in this race. This racetrack breeds surprises and breeds upset winners and breeds guys who good runs for guys who weren't really expecting that. You know, Kendall Player was a lap down, finished in in third spot. So just hats off to the drivers tonight. They ran really, I would say, 99 really good laps, and then one crazy chaos-filled lap, and that's all we got.
I think this 250 kind of summarized our whole speed weeks. We saw some good saves that we had a few cars get together, but no real not the big one. And then at the end, we had that one big one. We'll go through the final results to wrap up the Dayz Gone By 250. Cameron Rich, Joshua Personette, Kendall Player, Jared Campbell, and Robert Hill, your top 5. Ethan Burrell, Ryan Lutz, Marshall Stanley, Dylan Thomas, and Michael Goodman, your top 10. Dalton Tucker, Tate Lytle, Richard Lafferty, Jared Mogard, and Nick Massey, the top 15. Johnny Thomas, Matthew Bayuk, Josh Clark, 16th, 17th, and 18th. 19th, James Heater. 20th, Brandon Scott. 21st, Tyler Riggs. 22nd, Damien Leininger. 23rd, Jake Finch. 24th, Chris Wright. 25th, Connor Trafari. 26th, Chuck Sweeting. 27th, Kenny Lowry. 28th, Harrison Talon. 29th, Adam Pettit. 30th, Giovanni Klein. 31st, Colin Fambro. 32nd, Matthew Weeks. 33rd, Jeff Green. 34th, Byron McDonald. 34th, Kyle Hanshaw. 36th, Zishan Dura. 37th, Brandon Key. 38th, Tyler McIntosh. 39th, David Strackenbean. 40th, Joe Francis. 41st, Thomas Sherman. 42nd, Nick Indelicato. And 43rd, Scott Crump.
With that, Emily, any final thoughts?
Yeah, this just absolutely lived up to my expectations. Not gonna lie, I was getting ready to brag to everybody that I chose the winner in green, and the last few laps that changed everything. So I think it was an exciting race, and I'm just super stoked for the rest of the season.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up here from Daytona. We will not be in action next week. We're going to have a week off before we head to Iowa to start the next round of the ERSCA series on March 1st. So for Emily Harlan, David Westergreen, and Josh Sobel back there in the production studio, and everyone else at the Belly Up Sports and ERSCA series, thank you for watching. Have a good night, and we'll see you in 2 weeks right here at 9:30 on Monday night.